like you don't know if it's going to connect the way you want it to. And you do all this work and you spend all this time and money making something you think you're proud of, and it comes out and you're like, good luck. I realized I needed to speak in song form like I do to my friends. It was something about getting rid of all the decades of media training to talk, I think, freely, and like really being inspired by younger artists that are like doing that exact thing. Just being like, okay, if I was having a conversation with my friends about things that are actually going on in my life, like how does that sound musically? And that's how I wrote it, and I think it was the first time it just felt reflective of the time, and I felt confident that I wasn't putting on some type of front. Because I think in the past when I'd done music, it didn't necessarily feel like me, like a real version of me. And I felt weird about that, and the music never came out. So this was the first time I was like, oh, okay, we'll do this. Let's put this music out. Oh, I think there's tons of young artists that inspire me, and I do think it is something about their honesty. I think people like Kevin Abstract and Brockhampton and Billie Eilish, and where these people are super young and they're changing the music business because of streaming platforms and how music is discovered these days. You don't necessarily have to play the old school game, which is sort of terrifying and also really liberating and exciting. It's funny, like, we didn't know if people would understand or get Help Me Now. It's not like it's a complicated idea, but the whole thing is really satirical. And it was interesting, even within my friend group, some people thought I was really like serious and like trying to just nail these dance moves. And then a majority of the people were like, oh yeah, this is very you, where you're just dancing like you would in a club, like thinking you're Beyonce, but you're most definitely not. Hearing people have that reaction, that they feel like they get it, they get me, and they get I'm just sort of not really taking myself seriously, is the biggest relief, because you never know. I mean, I grew up in the 90s where music videos were a whole separate art form, and I think now that's starting to have a resurgence, which is nice because I love music videos as an extension of an album or a single. So there will definitely be more. We've been working a lot on those. But it's hard for me to nail down one specific type of music that I want every song to sound like. I mean, they're all pop and R&B in some way, but they all have a definite, different, specific feel from the rest of them. And that's what's fun about it, because it feels more spontaneous, it feels more in the moment, and like whatever sort of happened. And that's what we're putting out. The EP Boy is out June 21st. I just want the EP to be out. I'm ready for people to hear it, because all the songs are so different from one another, and even seeing how people's reactions have been so different from the first two songs that have been out, that I'm like, let's release these to the world.
My music hits me so hard, makes me say, oh my Lord.
We have, Glee group texts and things where you hear a song on the radio and you're like, oh, we totally would have done this song. There's like a specific sound, and like, oh, I know who would sing which parts. I honestly think any of the new Bruno Mars Mars' last album probably would have been like a feast for us to do. We could have just done a whole episode based off of Bruno Mars. I mean, honestly, any of Frank Ocean's music. Frank Ocean and Calvin Harris, that song Slide that came out like 2 years ago. Honestly, any of Calvin Harris's last album, any of that would have been good. Also, Lemonade. I don't know if I would have allowed that to happen. I would have been scared. Like, we can't touch a masterpiece, but maybe I would just have like Amber do all of Lemonade, because I trust her with anything. So maybe that would have been good. Yeah, I'm better at picking other songs for other people.